Good morning, YouTube. It's your boy Humble Warrior back at you guys again with another video. So apparently I gotta come on here and clarify a thing or two, because actually last night I was talking to what's his name, Unbound Sports or Out of Bounds Sports or whatever his Twitter name is, and I told him that I've been a Dolphins fan since 2020, basically when they drafted Tua. And then a dude named Jason Cullen, I believe his name was, or something like that. He asked, like, was I an Alabama fan? And then he asked about the Tua and Mac Jones, I guess, comparison or whatever. And I went on to explain to him that Mac Jones is not as talented as Tua, because he's not. He's not as talented as Tua is. And then some idiot decided to go and say, "Oh well, again, now I've been a Bama fan since '98, so I've seen all that the Alabama program has done since the Nick Saban era, even before that. We're talking about back when they had Andrew Zhao. If you don't go back that far, that's a long way." But he went on to say, "Oh, Mac Jones, he had Devontae Smith, who with Devontae Smith he went on to win the Heisman Trophy. He also had Najee Harris, and but it wasn't the same cast of characters. Technically it was, sir. The only difference is that Jalen Waddle got hurt. He broke his ankle against Tennessee, and he spent more than half the year on the bench recovering. So when he did come back in that championship game, Jalen Waddle was like, he wasn't even 50% of himself, but he went back out there because he wanted to play for his teammates, and he made little to no impact. He had I want to say he had 2 or 3 catches, maybe 50 yards. And you could tell that his ankle still bothered him because he could not accelerate the top speed. So he was easily caught. But Devontae was so far beyond guardable that their best DB continuously got burnt by him that night. I think Devontae finished with over 150 yards receiving and 2 or 3 touchdowns. So he literally outplayed the Ohio State secondary. But let's go back to what I was talking about with Tua. Way accurate than Mac Jones. He has better pocket presence. He actually has a better arm than Mac Jones. Mac Jones was literally throwing it to Devontae Smith, but outside of that, who else is Mac Jones really throwing it to? And I'll wait. You can't give me anybody else, because all he saw was Devontae. Now, granted, Tua had Devontae, he had Waddle, he had Ruggs, he had Judy, he had Irv Smith. Out the backfield, he had Damian Harris, he had Josh Jacobs, then he had Najee Harris. But everybody spread the ball. There was no such a thing as I'm gonna lean on one receiver. Wasn't. And Tua spent 2-3 years at Alabama. Jerry Judy was the most gifted receiver they had, but even he didn't get 100 catches in the season. The distribution was evenly spread out between those 4 or 5 guys every single time. Oh, he also had Calvin Ridley there his first year. When he came 2018, he also had Calvin Ridley there. So it was spread out evenly. So to say that he had that the talent around him elevated him, that would be a lie. Because without him, they don't win that championship. They had Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had every receiver I just named on his roster offensively. All that talent. And he could not beat Georgia in the national championship game, but Tua did. And then the next year, Tua exploded on the scene and was a Heisman Trophy runner-up to Kyler Murray. It was him and Kyler Murray. All season long, there was only 2 people that was getting mentioned, Tua and Kyler. Because they were just that dynamic of playmakers at quarterback. But, no, his name is Alex Cullen. That's his name, Alex. But people like him want to sit here and basically downplay what Tua can do by saying, oh, he's mediocre. If he was so damn mediocre, sir, I'm pretty sure by now the Dolphins would have moved on, because you do not keep a guy on your roster that's mediocre for 5 seasons. You don't do that. As a matter of fact, to go a little deeper, because like I said, I've been a Dolphin fan since 2020. When Tua first arrived in Miami, he had an OC that didn't like him. His head coach didn't really fuck with him like that. All he cared about was the defensive side of the ball. The man had Devontae Parker. He had Mike Gurkowski. Mike Krzyzewski. He had Miles Grant. How am I forgetting this dude's name? The running back. He had what's his name? Ahmed. He had Miles. I think it is Miles Grant. But he had 2 or 3 running backs that's not even in the NFL no more. They're on no other roster. He had what's his name? Not Corey Grant, but what's that boy's name? He had Grant Sr., who was a great special teams guy, but as a receiver, he had hands of bricks. He had Preston Williams. He had guys that basically didn't even make what's his name? William Perry III. He had guys on the roster that wouldn't even make an NFL roster anymore. And he was throwing the ball to them, distributed it evenly between them. Of course, Devontae was the best receiver he had, but he didn't lean on Devontae all the time. He threw it to Mike. He threw it to Corey. He threw it to Preston. He threw it to Willie. So he was actually out there trying to elevate what was around him offensively. And they were scoring, decently. They weren't scoring consistently, no. But they were scoring decently. The Kansas City game was the highlight game of his rookie year when he put up 300-plus yards against Patrick Mahomes in a losing effort. I think they lost by 3. But in that game, they were down by 20, and Tua engineered a great comeback to basically be able to be mentioned in that game with Patrick Mahomes. Because at first, the Chiefs were destroying the Dolphins. And I think that's when Tyreek first noticed that Tua got a little talent, because any other quarterback in that situation would have folded and would have just threw in the white towel. All right, we'll chalk it up to next week. Nope. He came out there, he threw a hell of a goddamn dive to Mike against 3 DBs, including the safety, who was over the top. He led that ball directly to that boy's chest in the end zone. And that was from 40 yards away. But he has no talent. Then we're talking about his sophomore campaign, when they got him 2 OCs, a tight ends coach and a running backs coach. Don't even know why they did that. His numbers double in production. His receiving core is just about the same, except they drafted Jalen Waddle. Personally, I wish they had drafted Devontae Smith, because he's a better route runner. He just is. But they got him Jalen Waddle because they felt like he needed more speed. Jalen Waddle in his first year had over 108 catches for over 1,000+ yards and 8 touchdowns in his first year. And Tua did ride him, yes, because he was the fastest weapon he had. But the ball still got a strip between Devontae, Mike. I think Preston was still on the roster at that time. He had, like I said, he had Ahmed, he had Miles out there at running back. So, and then they added, what's his name, Malcolm Brown. He got added to the roster. Then, the defense stayed the same, but again, they went, I think it was 10-7 or something like that. 2022 happened. They went and signed Tyreek Hill. Biggest acquisition of the offseason by far in 2022 was getting Tyreek Hill from Kansas City. Very first video release was Tua underthrowing this boy by more than 20 yards. Tyreek had to go to a complete stop, backpedal to catch the ball, and everybody kept saying, "Oh my God, is this what it's gonna be like? Is this what he's gonna do in the game? No, you dumb jock. Like, what is wrong with you? You do know players get acclimated to other players' speed eventually. It has to happen. There's no such thing as continuously overthrowing a player. So what happened in 2022? Well, glad you asked. Tua put up, 3,500 yards, I think it was? Yeah, 3,500 yards plus. Tyreek had over 1,700 yards. That's half of his yards went to Tyreek Hill. Over half. because Tyreek was the focal point of the offense in 2022. The goal was to get him 2,000 yards. Posted a I think it was 10-6 record, and Tua was in consideration MVP most of the season until he got hurt. He went down early again in the Cincinnati game, had a concussion, was out 4 games, came back against Pittsburgh, balled out 5 straight games, went back down again against Green Bay, the season was over. But even with those missing those 6 games, he put up 3,500 yards. So imagine had he played the whole regular season of 2022, he puts up close to 5,000 yards in one season. But it didn't happen. He got knocked out and he was gone. 2023, his best statistical season ever. 4,600 yards, 29 touchdowns. Tyreek had over 1,700 yards, and he was rolling with 13 touchdowns. We posted 11-6 record, made our way to the damn playoffs, and got beat in the Ice Bowl by the Kansas City Chiefs, and everybody shitted on Tua because they said he could have done better. I'm not gonna disagree with that, but I will say if you don't run the ball, what the fuck you want him to do? At least with him, if you actually run the ball a little bit, you give him more windows to throw into. You give him more opportunities to showcase what he can do. It ain't like Jalen Hurts where you got to heavily depend on the run. And I'm tired of people using this thing like, oh, it's common sense football. No, it's not. The run game opens up the pass. But if you know you can actually pass the ball, sprinkle a little bit of run game in there here and there and watch what your passing attack can do. Just sprinkle the run game. Just make the defensive line and the linebackers and the secondary think that you're going to run the ball. Get them a little bit of seasoning on that meat. You know, when you're grilling something and you put a little seasoning on there to make the smell marinate even more, get the defense a little bit of marination over there and watch what happens to your passing attack. People kill me with this stupid ass thing with Tua about what he can and can't do. His limitations are clear. But in terms of what he can do inside that pocket, that boy's a natural born sniper. And if he was not that, then I wouldn't be sitting here talking with this much conviction and passion about him. Hell, I know the boy can damn play. All I said this season was he just got to stay healthy. He cannot afford to get hurt anymore. Damn, just looked like it was missing. Good morning.
Can we get back window down? Thank you.
Yeah.
How's it going?
You too. But again, I wouldn't be sitting talking with this much conviction if I didn't feel like he couldn't. If I didn't feel like he couldn't play. But let's keep this going, right? 2023, like I said, they lost to Kansas City. 2024, he had a down year because he got hurt against the Bills week 2, which is the stupidest play I've seen in my life. His old boy in the chest, then he goes down for a concussion. He's now susceptible to him more and more when he uses his head. If he stopped doing that and just slide, nobody could touch you. The Trevor Lawrence thing from last season was a fluke. I don't know what caused that boy to hit him like that, but that's a fluke. 9 times out of 10, the players are going to jump over you or they're going to just stop. But if he slides more, instead of trying to be a hero, he'll better play for the next down. Nobody's going to get mad at you for playing for the next down. Or what you're supposed to do. It's how you stay around in the game. We only get upset with Tua when he takes himself out of the game completely, and he's no longer playing. But anyway, 2024 was the last season. He had, I think it was 28 or 2,900 yards. He had I forgot the touchdowns, but I think he went down in production completely. But it was because of injuries. He couldn't stay healthy. That's his biggest thing, is his health, not his ability to play. Not what he can and can't do outside the offense, because people that say he can't scramble or he can't improvise already been proven he can. The noodle arm shit is dead. The not being able to throw on the run is dead. The not being able to throw deep balls is dead. All the stupid little narratives that went on from 2022 up until last season, they're all dead. So because somebody supports what he does do, and at the same time calls out what he does do wrong, now you're too near. Again, just like Doug said on his own video, do you not know what a 2 near is? It's somebody that really that was an Alabama fan that became a Dolphin fan strictly only for Tua. And that's all they actually care about is him. To where you cannot say anything wrong about him. I don't mind if you say nothing about him. But it has to make sense. You can't just say all kind of shit. Like the Alex dude last night was trying to make it seem like, basically Tua is trash. Like, no, sir, he's not. He's not trash. You don't get mentioned MVP back-to-back season 2022, 2023, and you're trash. The league hell, case in point, the NFL top 100. 2023 he was number 36. 2022 he was number 82. 2023 he was number 36. 2024 he was number 91. 3 straight years in a row he's made the NFL top 100. You don't make that list if you're garbage. If you cannot play in this league, you don't make that list. As you see, it's only reserved for the top 100 players. The top 100. Not the 1,500 players that play, the top 100. So you don't make that list if you're a garbage-ass quarterback. And again, it all comes down to his health. That's why this season is very critical, which I think he'll play the whole season. I think I see what his final numbers are going to look like and then what he can do in the postseason. If we get to the postseason and he can lead us to like 1 or 2 victories, I think a lot of people will have to reevaluate how they feel about him. You can't call him a system quarterback because, hell, to me, the Dolphins run a complex system, but putting anybody else behind that line and in that system, they don't do so well. It's already been noted that the rookies are already struggling. Zach Wilson struggles. Every year, the same backup quarterback we have, they all struggle. If it's that easy, if it's that simple, they shouldn't struggle. Honestly, I think Patrick Mahomes will struggle. So will Josh Allen. The terminology is not like what the Chiefs and Bills do. Lamar Jackson will struggle. Jalen Hurts will struggle. Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. Put any perennial all-star quarterback back there, they're going to struggle with that terminology. They're going to struggle with the cadence. It's not like a traditional NFL offense. It's just not like that. The only person that might have some kind of success is Brock Purdy because he's heard the same terminology with the 49ers. But every other quarterback is guaranteed to struggle. It's not the same. So please stop with this dumb narrative. But that's my little rant this morning because I had to get it out my chest. And you guys have a great morning. Peace.